Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Hugo and today we're going to see 15 stocks. This is going to take me ages to edit this video. And we're going to see as well the market performance and also Bitcoin and my portfolio performance. So stay around. Before we start the video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Only 6.2% of my viewers are subscribers, so don't forget to smash that button. So let's get back to the video. So I'm going to start with the highest dividend yields from the lowest dividend yields, and starting from monthly to quarterly. Most of them are going to be REITs, and some of them are diverse finance as well. So you're going to start with the ticker PSEC, Prospect Capital Corp. They have a dividend yield of 9.11. They pay monthly. They are overvalued in 42%. The ex-dividend date is going to be on the 27th of this month. And the financial health is a B, so they have more liabilities than assets. I'm not going to get in detail of all of them, otherwise this video is going to have 1 hour. So the market sentiment is going to be annulled, and the future growth is minus 62.4%. So they actually in the past they had a big growth, but for the future forecast is going to be quite low. So in terms of investment, I don't know if this actually is going to be a really good investment due to the fact that we're going to have a negative growth of 22.4%, and this is going to impact on the stocks in upcoming months. So in the past month we had some oscillations. We went down quite a lot. Everybody got impacted by the market correction. It's not quite a crash because it didn't went more than 20%, so we only consider a crash when it goes below 20%. In this case we had a correction on the market around 5%, and that's why we have see there on the graph this type of oscillation. They are in the industry of asset management and custody banks, so that's why the financial health is a B, because they usually borrow money in order to develop their business. AGNC Investment Corp, it's one of the stocks that I have on my portfolio, and is well known worldwide. It's a dividend yield of 8.88% and pay monthly. For me, this it's one of the best stocks that I have on my portfolio. They are undervalued in 32.3%, so it's nice to invest. And the ex-dividend date is going to be on 29th of September. They have a financial health of 3Bs. Don't forget they are a mortgage REIT, so they borrow money, and that's why they have more liabilities than assets. In terms of the market sentiment, it's an old, and the future growth it's a 4.4%. I think this growth, comparing with the dividend yield and also with the stock being undervalued, is quite supportable. So I think it could be a good investment on AGNC. Main Street Capital, it's one of my favorite stocks. Also in my portfolio, they have a dividend yield of 6.06%. They pay monthly. They are overvalued in 17.3%, and the ex-dividend date is going to be on the 28th of September. And the financial health, it's a G, so they have more assets than liabilities. The market sentiment, we have a hold, and the future growth we have minus 29%. Comparing the minus 29% and the overvalue, this is quite critical to invest in this stock. This is going to be quite risky because we have a stock that are undervalued in 70%, and also they're going to have a negative growth, and we're going to see some impact in the future stock price. So I don't see the stock price of being so high. They need to go down, and we're probably going to see this in upcoming months. The ticker EPR Properties, I already spoke about this stock. They have a dividend yield of 8.85%. They pay monthly, but bear in mind they didn't pay from July last year until July this year. So they had a year of no payments. So this is quite concerning in terms of if you are going to buy something that you are expecting to receive every single month. So that's why I put there a mark there regarding the payments that they didn't pay for more than a year, but they started to pay again as soon as the stock went up, back up. They are undervalued in 65.8%. They are quite good. The ex-dividend is going to be on September 29th, and the financial health is a G. The market sentiment is a node, and the future growth is 36.5%, which is quite good. So we're going to have here a really interesting stock here. Have in consideration that from now on they're going to pay the dividends. This could be one of the best stocks to buy for this week. The ticker TWO, Tow Arbors Investment Corp. They have a dividend yield of 10.30%. So we're now starting to talk about stocks that are going to pay quarterly, and this pay quarterly in March, June, September, and December. They are undervalued 24.7%. The ex-dividend date is going to be on the 30th of this September. This month they have a financial health of 3B, so in terms of liabilities. They have a lot of liabilities than assets. But once again, bear in mind, this is a mortgage REIT, so they borrow money in order to develop their investments. And the market sentiment is going to be a buy, and the future growth is going to be 18.1%. The past growth was well negative, and this year is going to be negative as well. So having in consideration they have a 24% and 18% of future growth, this could be a risky stock, and what we're going to get from the dividend yield probably not going to pay the evaluation of the price of the stock. The ticker NLI, NLE Capital Management Inc. They have a dividend yield of 9.83%. They pay quarterly March, June, September, and December, and they are undervalued 7%. It's not enough, and actually having consideration the future growth is not going to be good as well. So we have a ex-dividend date on the 29th of September. They have a good financial health, but the market sentiment we have an old, and the future growth is going to be negative 24%. So having consideration they are only undervalued 7%, and with a future growth of minus 24%, probably this is not going to be a stock for this week, but a stock to have on our watch list. The ticker NRZ, New Residence Investment Corp. They have a dividend yield of 8.98%. They pay quarterly March, June, September, and December. They are undervalued 43.5%. The ex-dividend date is going to be on the 1st of October, so we are going to have plenty of time to buy it. We have more than 3 days for this one. The financial health is going to be a B, and the market sentiment we have a buy. And we have also a future growth of 19.2%. So this is going to be a stock as well that I think we should invest in. Not only we have a highest dividend yield, we have a good future growth, and also they are undervalued 43%. The ticker CMI Chimera Investment Corp. They have a dividend yield of 8.57%. They pay quarterly March, June, September, and December, and they are overvalued 64.8%. This is a lot. The ex-dividend date is going to be on 29th of September. They have a good financial health, 3Gs. The market sentiment we have a no, but the future growth is going to be minus 26.3%. So this for me is a no-no. Because we have two things here, which is a future growth of minus 26%, and they are overvalued 64.8%. So this stock for me, it's one to have on my watch list, but not going to invest because of the overvalued. The ticker BXMT, the Blackstone Mortgage Trust, they have a dividend yield of 7.97%. They pay quarterly March, June, September, and December. They are overvalued on 5.4%. It's not much, but it's overvalued. And the ex-dividend date is going to be on September 29th, and the financial health is 3Gs. The market sentiment is going to be a null, and the future growth is going to be minus 5.1%. So actually, the future growth comparing with the overvalued, it's exactly almost the same. I do think this stock is going to be down in 5%, and then that could be a nice time to buy. For now, I think it's a no-go. It's a stock that we need to have on our watch list. The ticker STWD, Starwood's Property Trust, they have a dividend yield of 7.55%. They pay quarterly March, June, September, and December. They are overvalued 69.3%. It's a lot. The ex-dividend is going to be in September 29th, and they have a good financial health. The market sentiment is going to be a buy, and the future growth is going to be at 5.8%. But this future growth, comparing to the overvalued of 69%, it's a no-go for me. We need the stock to go down a little bit more. The ticker MFA Financial Inc. They have a dividend yield of 7.43%. They pay quarterly March, June, September, and December. They are undervalued in 8.0%, and the ex-dividend date is going to be on 29th of September. The financial health is 3Gs. We have a market sentiment of hold, and the future growth is going to be 2.9%. And consideration that the future growth is going to be 2% and or 3%, and they are undervalued in 8%. So we're going to see here undervalued of around 6%, and the dividend yield, we may get some profit here, but it's going to be a bit risky. The ticker WPC, PW Carry Inc. This is a stock that I already spoke in this channel. They have a dividend yield of 5.52%. They pay quarterly in March, June, September, and December. They are undervalued in 46.6%. They have an ex-dividend date in September 29, and the financial health is a G. The market sentiment is an old, and we have a future growth of 12.2%, which is good. So having in consideration the future growth, and they are undervalued 46%, although we only have a dividend yield of 5.52%, but it's going to be good. Have all in this in consideration of the rest of the other stocks. This is going to be a good stock as well to buy. And one more thing, they went down a lot during this month. as you can see here in the graph. The ticker MPJ or MGM Growth Properties LLC, they have a dividend yield of 5.06%. They pay quarterly March, June, September, and December, and they are undervalued 33.7%. The next dividend is going to be on 29th of September. The financial health as a G, and the market sentiment is going to be a buy. The future growth is going to be minus 5.7%. If you, I think the dividend yield will cover this future growth. But if it's going to be a stock just for 1 year, probably that's not going to be a good investment. But for more than 5 years or so, that could be a good investment because you're going to cover this future growth with the growth of the stock. So it's one of the stocks to have on our watch list as well. Now I'm going to talk about the stocks that we all know, which is British American Tobacco, BTI, which is the US stock, and BATS.L, which is the UK stock. They have a dividend yield of 5.06%, the British one. And they pay quarterly March, June, September, and December. They are undervalued in 69.8%, so that's why this is a good investment for the short term, because I don't know if tobacco is going to have a future, but that's a different story. The next dividend is going to be on the 30th of September, and we have a financial health of a B. The market sentiment is going to be a buy, and the future growth is going to be 7.6%. So we don't see here too much of a future growth, but since they are undervalued almost 7%, 70%, this is a good stock to have on our portfolio, and I also have this stock on my portfolio until when, I don't know, as soon as they go up more, because the UK stock market went down a lot. This was affected as well. So I'm not going to sell yet. I'm going to wait a little bit more to grow a little bit more around the 30%. When we'll reach that point, probably I'll sell. At the stocks this week, we have the famous STOR Capital Inc., which is a really good stock to have on our portfolio. I have this stock in my portfolio, and they have a dividend yield of 4.52%. The next dividend is going to be on the 29th of September. So now let's have a look into the market and the Bitcoin, see what's going to happen during this week. So in terms of the SP500, as you can see, the last week bullseye on the value that was going to supposed to be. This is actually the arrow that I've put it there. That's going to be supposedly the price that we're going to get. So we did in fact have a big decrease, and the next upcoming week is going to be a positive way, because we have here the MACD. We're going to start the bull market instead of the bearish market that we had so far. Of course, this is not going to be so drastically as go down. Usually the stocks go down faster than they go up, but they go up normally 3 times higher than they go down. So it's just a time of wait a bit. I do think we're going to reach the $4,500. This depends on how the market responds for the next week. We had here, in fact, a big increase for this week. We're going to reach again the 4,400, and then go back again to reach the 4,500. We're not going to have this increase from now on. The curvature is going to be more flat than we had so far. So we're going to see something like this that we have previously in the April, May this year. In terms of the Bitcoin, we still having a bull market now. We did had some impact due to China has blocked completely Bitcoin in certain markets, but this has been usual for a long time, so it's nothing new, and it could be good for the European and the US market. So there can be a shift here in terms of power or from the Bitcoin, so transaction from the Chinese market to the US or European market. And for the reason we have here a bull market, we're probably not going to have a positive Monday, but I think we're going to still be here on this support at the 42,000, maybe the 40,000, but I don't think we're going to go lower than that and reach again the resistance at the 45. So this is my prediction for this week. In terms of copy trading, I recommend you to copy all my open trades with a minimum of 1,000, but you can do with 500, depends on how much you can invest. More you invest, more gains you're going to get from the dividends that my portfolio gives you. So this is the graph of my portfolio. This was the big decrease or correction that we have during this past week. and here was when I told you guys to start copying, and this is the exact moment that you guys need to start copying. Now it's not a good moment to start copying. I recommend always when the portfolio goes down or when the market goes down, because there is where you're going to get the chance to start copying stocks where they are in the deep. So in this case, here is usually when I recommend. I don't recommend when you guys on in the peak, because then on the next week or so they can go down, and the best time to buy it's when the stock are down or when my portfolio is in the red. They usually it's not really often on the red, but this happen, and we have this tendency in the market as well. Usually September and October it's a negative day in the market, as you can see. In any exactly same month from last year I had also a negative, and then they start to increase. So this is something that we need to have in consideration. And also this is the normal fluctuation of the market where my portfolio gets impacted on. In terms of the portfolio performance, the US market had a decrease of minus 0.5%, and my portfolio had a decrease of minus 0.47%. Since inception, the portfolio had an increase here from last week, around 0.25%, from 10.25 last week to 10.45% this week. Bear in mind that profit and loss doesn't have consideration all the stocks that I've sold. This is only the stocks that I have at the moment with 10% of profit. But I'm going to show you how much did we in fact gain from each sale of the stock, which it's not here included. In terms of the portfolio, last 12 months, the return had an increase of 30.26%. From last week, we had 30-ish percent. So we had as well 0.25% for this week. In terms of the top stocks this week, we had the International Consolidated Airlines, HEA, with 17.46%. So this is not yet good enough for me to sell. I'm waiting for a little bit to go a little bit higher. They are still a lot of undervalued, and I see a lot of potential here. So I'm willing to sell the stock when I reach the 45 or 35% of profit. In terms of Invina Partners, EVA, they had an increase of 5.22%, but still negative regarding my portfolio. The BPL, British Petroleum, had an increase of 5.1%, and all the energy sector had an increase as well. XLE had an increase of around 6%, and that's why I sold. The Chevron CVX had an increase of 3.97%, and the medical properties with the ticker MPW had an increase of 3.24%. In terms of other indicators and actions that I've done during this week, so we had payments of XLE, Realm, and QILD. We had new acquisitions with ARR, and I recommend you to see my previous video from last week, which I talk about this stock. In terms of open orders, I have SDIV, PFF, and DIV. So what I've done was actually from the profit that I got from XLE, I invested a lot, and I'm going to tell you where all this money went to from the XLE. So in terms of close orders, we had Royal Caribbean with a profit of 5.5%, and XLE with a profit of 33.37%, and I thought this was a good time to sell because I wanted to get the money that I got from not only for the profit but also from the dividends, which was only 4%. I want to invest in other stocks which had much higher dividends, like for example SDIV or QILD or AMZA or Main even Capital, which has much higher dividends than XLE. So that's why I have moved that money into those stocks. And with that, I had an increase of around 1 more percent just in terms of overall average of dividend yield. So my portfolio had a dividend yield of 4.5%, and now it's around 5.5% with only just this move. In terms of averaging, I've done OnCom, HIG, which was from XLE, Berkshire Hathaway with the ticker BRKB, Realm, JNQ, PWA, AMZA, QILD, Main, Amazon, PFG, Facebook, SDIV, and ARR, which I bought, but I have done as well an average on that. In terms of top payers, as shift from last week, which we have ET, we have now AMZA. In terms of the top dividend yields, is still QILD with 11.80%. In terms of portfolio undervalued, the increase from last week, we now have underfell in 45.7%, but this is due to the all the stocks went down, so that's normal that the overvalue goes up. In terms of the future growth, we had a growth of 9.7%, and this not only depends on the stock price, but also depends on the ability of the company to grow. And I've sold some stocks that had really bad future growth, and I invested those that had higher future growth. In terms of the stock with the highest volatility is still Main, and the lowest volatility is still Unilever. So now let's have a look into the spreadsheet and see all these actions in place. So in terms of payments this week, we have here, which is QYLD and Realm. We also have XLE, which I think I didn't put it here. I didn't put it because I already removed, because I've sold, and when I sold, I removed from this list. So, but we have this new acquisition, which is ARR, and they pay monthly as well, as you can see. Of course, this value is only for a 5,000 investment. Of course, you can invest more or less, depend on what you're willing to risk. In terms of my overall portfolio, and remember, this is only for the amount that I have here invested, so I have a balance of 2.3%. In terms of UK stock, we have a 9.3%. In terms of DTFs, 20.9%. In terms of crypto, 4.7%. In terms of US stocks, 58.1%. In terms of Chinese stocks, we have 4.7%. And in terms of dividends, we have 70.8%. And in terms of growth stock, we have 26.2%. So we had here a shift from growth stocks to dividends. So as you can see here now, we have an average from last week for 4.15%. Now we have 5.15% increase, which is due to some of the stocks that I had invested more. So I had invested a lot on those stocks, mainly those stocks that pay monthly, where I'm going to get more from the compound interest. And once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed these tips. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like. This is the only thing that actually makes me continue doing these videos. It's increasing the subscriptions, because this takes me a lot of time to edit, and it's around 8 hours that takes me. So once again, thank you, cheers, and see you next week.